Throughout NBA history, there have unfortunately been a number of instances where players have died during their careers. In my opinion, we should celebrate them in death just as we cheered them while they were living, never forsaking the memories that they provided us, which will last a lifetime. Today's video focuses on the players that died too young. First up on our list is Terry Furlow, one of the top players to come out of Michigan, and he is placed 7th on the Michigan State Spartans' all-time scoring list, as well as being the only Spartan to drop 50 points in one game. He was the 12th pick in the 1976 draft by the 76ers. He was later traded to Cleveland, where he spent a season and a half. He was traded to the Hawks in '79, and halfway through the season, he was traded to the Jazz, where he averaged a career high of 16 points per game. On the 23rd of May, 1980, Furlow crashed his car into a pole in Ohio and was killed in the event. It is suspected that he was using cocaine at the time. Next up, we have Len Bias, who really didn't get to show us his true potential. He died of a cocaine overdose just 2 days after being drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1986. The thought of Bias, one of the greatest players in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference, joining a team that included Larry Bird, Dennis Johnson, Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale, likely sent shivers through the rest of the NBA. Unfortunately, that lineup never really got to take the court at the same time. The death of Bias led to stricter anti-drug laws and NCAA regulations. In 2009, Bias's life and the impact were recorded in the ESPN documentary Without Bias. Next up, we are talking about Robert Traylor, who was nicknamed Tractor Traylor due to his gigantic frame. He was the 6th pick in the 1998 draft, and he would go on to play with the Bucks, Cavaliers, Hornets, and then back to the Cavaliers before going to play overseas in Spain, Puerto Rico, Turkey, Italy, and Mexico. Throughout his career, he had struggled with his weight and even had surgery on his heart in 2005. Traylor sadly lost his life in 2011 after he suffered a heart attack in his home in Puerto Rico. He was talking to his wife on the phone when it happened. Seeing the connection being lost, his wife decided to alert team officials to investigate. Traylor was a gentle giant, and this made him a fan favorite during his time in the NBA. Next up is Bobby Phills. Bobby Phills spent time in the Continental Basketball Association, Spain, and in the NBA, but he sadly only had a 9-year career, which was cut short on January 12, 2000. As a member of the Hornets, Phills was killed in a car accident after he and teammate David Wesley were driving at a high speed of over 75 miles an hour, which police reports later deemed to be erratic. Phil's Porsche spun out of control and crossed into oncoming traffic, causing an impact with 2 other cars. The 2 other drivers miraculously recovered, while Phills was pronounced dead at the scene. His jersey was retired by the Hornets, making him the first player ever to have his jersey retired by the franchise. In 2014, the newly renamed Hornets rehung his jersey at the Time Warner Cable Arena. Car accidents are scary. Please drive safely, guys. Next up is Lorenzen Wright. Lorenzen Wright's death still remains masked in mystery, with this case being investigated as a homicide. Wright was the 7th pick in the 1996 draft and was selected by the Clippers. He also played for the Hawks, Grizzlies, Kings, and Cavaliers, spending 13 seasons in the league and proving himself to be a valuable asset. He announced his retirement back in 2009, and on the 18th of July in 2010, he left his ex-wife's house in Tennessee and was never seen or heard from again. His body was found 10 days later in a wooded area, and it was revealed that a 911 call was made from his phone the day after he went missing, with the dispatcher stating that gunshots were made during the call. The case is still yet to be solved. Lastly is Eddie Griffin. This player's death is probably the most shocking and tragic. The story of Eddie Griffin's death shocked the entire NBA and sporting world. The standout performer at college was hyped up to be one of the next greatest players in the NBA, but he was clearly a troubled soul, and this plagued his entire NBA career. He started his career brightly in Houston, but then struggled with alcoholism, which caused him to miss the entire 2003-2004 season as he entered rehab. He was picked up by the Timberwolves in 2004 and began to show promise, but in 2006, he crashed his car while intoxicated and was later released by the Timberwolves. In 2007, Griffin died after ignoring a railroad warning and driving through a barrier onto the tracks where his car was hit by a moving train. That's just too sad. Griffin had to be identified through dental records, and he had more than 3 times the legal alcohol amount in his system. During his career, several people tried to help Griffin, but it was clear that he was battling demons. He was just 25 years old when he passed. Well guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Athlete Power, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video. See you all next time.